Welcome back, brothers and sisters. I am Braden. This is Langley Outdoors Academy, the place where we not only talk about what's going on in the gun world, but also how we're going to fix it together, and that's what this video is all about. It's only been a day since Brandon Herrera came in second place in the congressional race for the seat in Texas. Well, wouldn't you know it, the RINO in charge there, who's trying to get reelected, has the media out attacking Brandon and highlighting some interesting things directly after he became the potential runoff candidate. Isn't that weird how this works? RINO, leftist media, going after my man Brandon. That ain't gonna work because now it's in our wheelhouse. Everything is gonna be linked into the description box below, and we are gonna tear this asunder, and I cannot wait to hear what you guys think. And of course, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn the notification bell on, and send this one out because Brandon needs some love all the way up to the May runoff. Now, let me take this article we're going to cover because it directly calls out YouTube and Brandon and all of the things with guns. From ground.news, let's take a look here. This is from NBC, of course. Gun YouTuber forces a runoff for Uvalde, Texas congressional seat. We'll get to the title in a second. But you can see it's individual from the Roberts family, our same friends of the Roberts family. High factuality, and it leans to the left. Well, there's only one source on that because it's a new breaking story, which is the nature of this channel. Let me show you what's happening around State of the Union, and this is where the power of ground news comes out, which is why I like it so much as an analytical tool. Biden to call in State of the Union for business tax hikes, middle-class tax cuts, and lower deficits. Well, this one has 41 total sources, 57% on the center, and wouldn't you know it, if you look at the infograph which it provides through ground.news, you've got 38% on the left, 57% on the center, and the right is almost not covering it. That is an interesting piece because you would expect that to be right in the middle with equal distribution, but you don't. It's almost like there's a very determined outcome that the Biden administration wants. Anyway, let's keep going. So if you guys want to check out ground.news yourselves, use ground.news/Langley. There's a link in the description box below. You can get it for under $1 a month. It's 30% off the Vantage subscription. So check it out, and thank you to them for making this content possible. But now, boys, men, gentlemen, ladies, everyone. This is the time when we get to shine and we get to help Brandon push over and actually affect the change because he had the balls to run for Congress. Now, here's the thing. They're going after Brandon because he's now challenging a RINO. Now, this RINO voted for the Bipartisan Gun Control Act, the Senate deal, which was a disaster, which we loathe. He's also been bad on a lot of other things that Brandon has hit him on. So wouldn't you know it that the NBC article comes out the day after and they're highlighting these things. As I mentioned, listen to this. Gun YouTuber forces a runoff for Uvalde, Texas, and congressional seat. They are in our wheelhouse. Let's get it. Let's start with the optics. So that's the image they put up on the head of the article for Brandon. If you know Brandon, if you've seen one of Brandon's videos, that's not his natural demeanor. He's a very, very jovial person. He's a very feeling person, and he shows his emotion on his face, and he genuinely gives you attention when you're talking to him. I'm biased. I like him a lot because he's my friend. He's a good friend of mine in the industry. However, objectively, that is not his normal demeanor. He's usually smiling and very likable and appealing. Well, they put that up there, so that's an interesting thing. But now, let me break this down a little further. I find this fascinating. The House Republican who represents Uvalde, Texas, and broke with his party to vote for gun safety bills after the school shooting there will face a runoff election in May against a popular gun YouTuber. Well, look at that. Uvalde, Texas, the RINO voted for gun control, and a gun YouTuber. You see that full circle? This is where what we do, this is our powerhouse, and we're going to help him because they are literally framing Brandon as the extreme while supporting the RINO. When the media is supporting a RINO Republican who voted for gun control against a gun advocate, there's something wrong. Because again, NBC is left according to ground.news. Let me show you here. This is the backstory. Then I'll show you what they're actually describing Brandon as. Representative Tony Gonzales failed to surpass the 50% threshold Tuesday in the Republican primary to avoid a runoff in the state's 23rd district, which covers a vast rural area from the west region of Texas to San Antonio suburbs and includes much of the U.S.-Mexico border along the Rio Grande. Gonzales, who is seeking a third two-year term in Congress, got 45.1% in unofficial results, while challenger Brandon Herrera came in second among 5 candidates with 24.7%. The thing is, he didn't get 50%, so now he's got to face Brandon. So now, all of a sudden, NBC comes out and starts framing Brandon in these very interesting ways. Look at this. Herrera is part of a large gun culture on YouTube, featuring people sometimes known as gunfluencers or gun-tubers, who post videos of themselves firing weapons. Herrera has risen to popularity on the platform, where he has 3.2 million subs and has posted 485 videos since 2014. His videos about weapons have gotten 557 million views on such topics as grenade launchers, Nazi machine guns, and a gun used to kill Abraham Lincoln. There's a very specific reason they use those framing. They framed it to grenade launchers, ooh, scary, insane. Nazis, that kind of speaks for itself. And then the gun that was used to kill Abraham Lincoln. Look at this. I'm just sharing facts. Just sharing facts. I'm sure it has no determined outcome of why we went with those examples in this framing. The framing is everything when it comes to this stuff. And also, while we're hovering around the subject, when was the last time you saw an actual article, a direct piece on a challenger in a runoff to a Republican congressional district in the House of this level in detail? The answer is never. They identify him as a threat. Tony Gonzales, who is a RINO, who is an ally of the left from the Republican side of the aisle, has the media on his side defending him like this. Isn't that weird? 2 days after the runoff is determined and announced? I love coincidences, but let's continue. He also makes and sells Kalashnikov-style rifles through his website and goes by the nickname the AK Guy, a reference to the infamous Russian family of machine guns that includes the AK-47. You see what they're doing, right? They're trying to frame him as extreme from the media without Tony Gonzales doing it. Guys, this is what we do. All right. So Gonzales supported the law, the Bipartisan Safe Community Act in 2022, and he was one of 14 House Republicans voting with Democrats to pass it. Months later, the Texas Republican Party voted to censure him for that vote and others, because he's a RINO across the board. Herrera has attacked the 2022 law as Joe Biden's gun control. He says that red flag laws are unconstitutional. They are, he's right. And that the law violates veterans' Second Amendment rights. It 100% does. He's not wrong at all. He said Wednesday that the leadership of local law enforcement should be held accountable for the shooting in Uvalde. Waiting for the part where he's wrong. Where's the lie, as they like to say. But let's continue, because I've got some more terrifying stuff. Terrifying things. Expose on Brandon Herrera. Look at this. NBC's on it, I guess. In addition to his standalone YouTube videos, Herrera has several multi-video series, including one in which he critiques people for improper or unsafe handling of guns, and another in which he mocks fans of AR rifles. AR rifles are notorious for the lethal impact in mass shootings, and Herrera says AR users aren't as tough as users of AK rifles. You start to tell me where any of this makes sense or has anything to do with political campaigns. Again, he's running against a RINO, and this article is in a left-leaning article or left-leaning media. Any connections? All right, one more thing. He has even kept posting videos while he has been running for Congress, including 9 since he uploaded since January 1st. YouTube didn't immediately respond to a request for comment Wednesday. Why would YouTube even respond? Who cares? YouTube is completely unrelated to this. This is kind of like, oh my gosh, he's a banker. He worked with money and stuff, and he's got a banker, and he wears a white collar. But the bank was unavailable for comment on his congressional campaign. Who cares? All right. The main thing here is until May, when this runoff happens, you're going to see a lot more of this happen because the RINOs in charge are going to want as few gun advocates in the industry going into Congress because it will upset their power structure. Understand how important this is. He gets in there, he's got all sorts of strings to pull, all sorts of connections to further gun rights that he doesn't necessarily have on the outside. And there's no one that knows more about these gun rights and these gun legislations and all of these things than Brandon Herrera. Just saying. I'm sure it's a lot of coincidences. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below, and I'll see you on the next one. I'm Braden. See you later.